Your daughter is dead. Now she's alive. Don't tell anybody. How many people think that actually happened, that they said nothing about this to anybody? No, that's what you broadcast far and near. Hey, she was dead. She's alive. Look, she's right here. She was really, really dead. We were crying, tearing off our hair, ripping our clothing, saying, she has died and gone forth from us. But now she's alive. She's even eaten something after this happened. In the psalm today, there was a line about halfway through that struck me very deeply. Weeping spends the night, but joy comes in the morning. And that seems to tie all of these readings together for me. Is there anyone here whose life is stress-free? If there is, I want to hang around you a lot more. No one in the choir loft either? Stress-free life, perfect, everything smooth? No, sorry, even though you're at a higher level, you still have suffering and things that bother you and have to wait. But this line is fulfilled in Christ. Weeping does spend the night, but the night ends. And joy comes in the morning, and that's what we are called to have our trust in. That's what the woman with the hemorrhage for 12 years thought. This is the weeping phase, 12 years of weeping. So the night can sometimes be longer than a night. 12 years of hemorrhaging and physicians and treatments and solutions and nothing working, just getting worse and worse and worse. That's the night of weeping. But upon touching just the tassel of Jesus' cloak, all of that stopped like that. I had to switch hands because I can't snap my fingers with the other hand. It just goes thunk. That's how quickly the change can occur. That's sunrise. That moment between weeping and joy. And while we live in a world where there is much weeping, there's weeping in our own personal lives from the things that cause us pain and stress, from physical illness, from financial hardships, from all the different things that come upon us in our own lives. That's weeping. But joy comes in the morning. As you look about economic insecurity and economic different levels, there's words for that, but it just went away. Inequality, economic inequality. We look at that and see the pain and suffering of many people in our country and in the world at large around us. Weeping is there. But joy is coming in the morning. When the morning happens, we don't know. We're in the night of weeping. But joy does come in the morning, and there's 3 ways we can live that out. We can look into our own history or the history of the world and say, there was weeping back way in the day. But things got a little bit better. So that was the night of weeping, but joy came in the morning, and God was with me, and some of the diseases went away, and some of the financial hardship has been eased, and some of the different things that were unequal and unfair and unjust in the world have changed, and joy came back in the day, and that's a strong reason to believe. Because we have each encountered times where things were in the pit, and then they got better. So based on our own history and the history of the world, things can get better. First reason to believe. Second reason to believe is like the woman with the hemorrhage and Jairus and his family and his daughter. Death was there. Weeping spent the night. But as they encountered Christ, joy came in the morning for them as well. And that happens to us today in our lives. Things shift. All the different things that we got through in the past and lived through, suffered through, but still lived through, we knew that God was with us then. God is with us now in the current pain and suffering in our lives. We call that the theology of the cross. That in the midst of our own suffering, we are united with the suffering and death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. He is with us in the midst of the pain. In the midst of the weeping, He is with us to sustain us, to keep us alive, to help us know that his love is still with us. That's the second reason to believe, the current moment. That we know that this pain and this suffering will pass. Even when we look and see that those whom we love have died, we know that this for us is the night of weeping. But joy will come in the morning, in the resurrection, in the new life that God has in store for all who believe in him, all who accept his offer of mercy and peace and forgiveness. So we got the past, we got the present. Guess what the next one is? The future, yes. We trust, as the people of God, that any further weeping that enters into our lives, as bad as it may become on the worst moments of it, out of the depths, in the deepest, darkest part of our weeping, we know that God, who had been with us, who is with us, will be with us. And that on that day as well, through that night of weeping, that joy will come in the morning. Based on all of these, we hold on to Christ in the midst of the weeping, in the midst of the pain and the suffering and the illness and the injustice and the wars and insurrections and violence in the world around us. In the midst of all this, we know that Christ is not a remote viewer saying, you people should stop that. Christ is saying you people should stop that, but he's not apart. He is with us in the midst of it. Because he also said, whatever you do to the least of my brothers or sisters, you do to me. So he is us when we are suffering. He identifies with us. He unites with us. Because he knows what the Father has told him. What God told David way back in the day, when he was writing the Psalms and making songs on the harp. Weeping spends the night, but joy comes in the morning.